Go over there. So, hello everyone. Today we will be talking about the so-called cult of cults. Heaven's Gate, the world's weirdest, the most alien of all flavored cults. So that's actually a thing. I'd like to say hi to the chat while we start. Philip Blair, Armchair Warlord, Maxis, there's the handsome potato, and Ryan. So let's start this off. The cult was founded. Should we hold on? Let's get definitions right. Should we say the cult or group as we're going on? What do you guys think?
Cult.
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 That's
They were
Yes.
basically a cult.
Okay, so consensus is cult. Right.
I don't really know about. I don't really know about it. It sounds
Well,
culty
you
though.
can ask questions because you can ask. You can be the stand-in for the audience. How does that sound, raised?
That sounds amazing.
So
Hey, they were a cult glomerate.
Was it? Wait, is it like that one cult in Oregon that like held up like SWAT and stuff like that inside that big like farmhouse?
no, they're not that fun.
They're not that.
No, this is
Sounds pretty sus then.
in the 1950s. A man called Marshall Applewright was homosexual. Right now, the thing is, he was sent to a few different places because back then homosexuality was a mental illness. Right now, for anyone watching, I'm going to say that we do not believe this today, or anyone on the panel believes this. So what I'm talking is all stuff from the 50s and outdated. So if you want to come at anyone,
Hello,
blame
Matt.
Ryan. So in the 1950s, he started a relationship with someone, but then he started losing jobs. He wanted to be a professional musician, then teach music. None of these panned out. None of his careers. Absolutely. That's when in the 1950s...
And actually, you had that slightly out of order. He tried to get into acting, and then he went into
Thank
music.
you. Yeah, he was trying to get into acting. That didn't work out. Then he ended up married. Until...
Well, do you know what happened that got him out of music?
No, do tell.
In 1970, he got into the University of St. Thomas in Houston, Texas. He got ousted from the university as a professor because he was having a relationship with one of his male students.
Yes, which got him institutionalized. Brad said, I want to fly off on an asteroid and party with some aliens or whatever weird ideology, but no, kind of, but no, it's
not exactly. And the thing is, he didn't get institutionalized because of that. What happened is he got hospitalized because he had a nervous breakdown because he lost his job and he'd already been divorced by then.
And that is where he met Bonnie Nettles, who
there's two different stories to that.
Okay.
On one hand, a lot of people allege that he met Nettles because she was one of his nurses while he was hospitalized.
Yes, that's
but then himself and people close to him insist that he had gone back to the hospital later to meet a friend and met her while he was there and during visits.
Could it be both?
Possible. It's hard to say.
Yeah, because if he became aware of her while she was a patient, then there could not be patient-client relations. But they were not a sexual couple; they were platonic.
Yeah, but that actually is because of the. I'll get to that. The weird belief system of these guys.
Mm-hmm. So then, let's just say that her working there, but him coming in as a visitor, that could then spark a friendship. Then one story of two events then turned into two stories. Now, this is them in the 1970s, just as if they're in the 1960s. Now, at this time, they started going by T and Doe. Now, Doe was Marshall, and T was Bonnie. Bonnie believed that she was the reincarnation of God, also known as the older pilot, the older being, the older sibling, is what they called it.
And the weird thing about them too, is if you look into it, like how do I explain this? The Doe and T thing, apparently they had multiple names.
Oh,
They did.
At one
yeah,
point
they
it was
believe
Doe
in
and T.
reincarnation.
No. They were just using different names. At one point it was Doe and T. Another point it was Winnie and Pooh. Another point it was seriously.
Okay.
At another point it was Tiddly and Wink. Just random weird shit.
Now, everyone who I'll just say this now, because it's weird with the names, but for later to explain it. Everyone who was in the group got an identifier, right? You had large Odie, then you had Lord Odie. Now the thing is, yes, you can laugh FPS because it does sound stupid. No, Maxis, they could not keep it consistent.
When you learn more about the group, that'll make a lot more sense.
Brad says, the 70s picture looks like a couple of beards, if you know what I mean. Actually, you're not wrong.
Consistency ruins most cult-like behavior.
So,
there were certain things they were painfully consistent about, and then other things very erratic.
No, that kind of comes with the territory, an occupational hazard, if you will.
Days, it's important.
now, when it came, they said that the name Ode was an identifier that you were a higher level above human being, and E meant you were a child. So you'd be, say for talk's sake, Farv, you'd be Soldier E. Jet Sparks should be Otter E. Do you get me? OD. Their names were even hard for him to produce, because I watched the exit interview and there was one point where it was going through everyone's name and you could legitimately hear him laughing as he was saying everyone's name. Is there, and now it is Lil Odie, and now going over to Jan Odie, and I'm like, what? But the thing that you also have to remember is he was saying that, like, so the dinosaurs and the civilizations that you find, like, buried, right?
Okay,
They are. Say that again.
I thought you were going to go a different direction with that for a second. Thank God. Keep going.
Dinosaurs
So,
were an advanced
this is-
civilization.
Yeah, so actually, yes, he believes that dinosaurs were an actual civilization. But they also put down that these previous civilizations who were buried, Romans, Antifians, and ancient Native Americans, Mesopotamians, whoever comes to mind for ancient civilization for you, right? Yep.
Let me narrow that down. The belief system of these chuckleheads capitalized. Now, they did mention a lot of what he just mentioned, but it capitalized on the idea that Jesus Christ of Nazareth and his followers left the planet on a UFO.
A specific, and so in his exit interview, he said that you won't have any physical bodies and you'll have to work on ships so small that you can only fit 4 people in them, but other ones so large that you can fit entire planets within them and solar systems, but you'll have to do the jobs that you're assigned to do. But these are all in the kingdom of heaven. And now he kept using Bible verses to his own twisted rendition.
Well, because their belief was a weird, twisted rendition of Christianity and bizarre science fiction.
It's also important. It's also important to mention he used several different printings of the Bible too. He would use the Catholic stuff to help promote some parts, the King James version to help promote other parts. Like, he had a lot of Bibles and had memorized quite a few of them.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
And one of the things that I also found deplorable by him, right, was in his exit interview, Marshall Applewhite turned around and said that Jim Jones, the guys in Waco, which had just happened a few years previous, do not talk bad about them, he said. For these are people who were looking for their own vessels, their own ways, but they were just mistaken and led by demons. And I'm like,
Jim Jones' only vessel was communism.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, we'll be talking about him one of the days.
I'm sure.
Yeah, down the road, because he's going to take a bite.
It's also important to note that Jim Jones did not actually use Kool-Aid. He used the generic knockoff Flavor Aid.
Yes, he did.
That's not even a joke.
He did.
That's not even a joke. Yep.
Yeah,
But-
they literally. It was grape flavored Flavor Aid.
So now these guys moved around. Some of these people now they call themselves the classroom, right? And they refer to their bodies as the vessel. Now, some of them would be like, "Hey, I've only joined this classroom in the last 3 years," right?
Yes, you're welcome, Maxis. It actually is.
Wow, so the saying it's not even drink the Kool-Aid, that must have screwed with Kool-Aid. It's like, well, it wasn't us.
We didn't do it, damn it.
So, the thing about these people, which is really surprising, they had lawyers. Most of them were web engineers.
Well, there's this weird thing with them. It's like two sides of shit. On one hand, the disciples, let's just call them generously, had to renounce sex, drugs, and any earthly possessions apart from their clothing.
Yes, they
But
had
at
to.
the
They had to be
Yeah.
had to be medically castrated. Yeah.
Well, no,
Not
that
all
was
of
not
them.
that was not a requirement. That was not a requirement. That was considered an ascension kind of thing.
Oh.
The leader did that to himself, but it wasn't a
Yes.
requirement. But the thing is, on that hand, they all wore black matching tracksuits and Nike shoes. That's all they wore. But at the same time, they were weirdly tech savvy. These motherfuckers were running websites and doing web design when it was not a common thing for most
Like-
people.
Yep.
This
and
is
that
their website, and their website is still active today.
Yes.
There's 4 motherfuckers running it.
Yeah. They originally claimed that there was only 2,
For
but
what?
there's actually 4. Now the comet that they were on is the Hale-Bopp comet.
Yes. It
Um,
orbits the Earth every 2,000 years.
Yeah, Favre, you saw it both times.
No, I didn't, jackass.
Or, but you know, I don't know who's counting.
Yeah. So Brad says, I knew the fact about Jim Jones. I have a friend who lost a lot of random fact. Who has a lot of random facts he has learned.
So
So
let
you
me
have a friend who lives on Wikipedia.
Oh.
No.
let me explain something about the
Yeah.
basis of the belief system with these guys, because this is the weird shit that they managed to sell almost 40 people on that actually stayed till the
No,
end.
hold on. More. They sell.
No. I said that stayed till the
Oh,
end.
I'm sorry. Yes.
So in 75, they went and did a presentation in Oregon. I know, go figure. But they explained this thing. At the time, it wasn't called Heaven's Gate. It was called Human Individual Metamorphosis or Total Overcomers Anonymous.
Jesus Christ, what
Yeah,
a mouthful.
That is.
Mouthful. How do you even fit that on a sign? Like,
I
is it
don't
like-
know.
Put on a T-shirt, of course.
But the base thing
The-
was that all of their followers would eventually be taken away on a spaceship away from Earth to safety, allegedly.
Yes.
But they had to abandon their families and all earthly possessions in order to be elevated as to the evolutionary level above human.
Are we sure this guy is not aligned with the syndicate from the X Files? Because
Like-
it sounds like
Actually,
that sounds like
this-
fun fact:
that sounds something really true that would happen.
some of
Well-
the later episodes of the X-Files were based on him. But go ahead, Favre.
Well, here's
Oh,
the thing.
okay.
The event in Oregon, there were 150 people that showed up to this weird shit. A lot of them were just there to point and laugh and, see the spectacle.
Yeah.
But then they had about 24 people decide that they were interested enough in this idea to actually abide by the rules, leave their families behind, and go with this fucking mook.
Yeah. Now I'm going to show just some of the people who were there. This is, judging by these are the earlier photos. Now, this is what I noticed, and don't get me wrong. Do you ever notice that they intentionally looked ugly?
Yes, that was
Yeah.
actually part of the whole thing. Let me read the requirement here, right?
Yeah.
Apart from the fact that they had to agree to leave everything, including their families, behind and travel with this group, the other request here, let me read this. Some followers began to feel restricted by the cult's rules. As if abandoning their families weren't enough, members were expected to follow strict guidelines, including
Yes.
no sex, no, quote, human-level relationships, and no socializing.
They also, at one stage in the exit interview, which I watched recently, it was weirder than that towards the end. It was weirder. It's like, if you liked food...
Hold on,
Go ahead.
I got you there. Because there's more to this that was explained. Followers were expected to dress largely alike, conforming to incredibly specific rules about the most mundane things. Here's a quote. Survivor Michael Conyers explained, everything was designed to be an exact duplicate. You were not to come up with, say, well, I'm going to make the pancakes this big. There was a mixture, a size, how long you cooked it on each side, how much the burner was allowed to be on, how many an individual got, how the syrup was poured on it. Everything was strictly regimented. That was just one example he gave that was normal for them.
Like, the guy, Marshall, because I'm sorry. Whenever I call him Doe, because I was talking to, I'm sorry, this is all that comes to mind. Now, talking about what Farf was saying about everyone being alike, okay? Look, they all had Vulcan haircuts. Now, there is one person we need
What are
to talk. You shut the fuck up.
He's a first-person shooter for a reason,
actually,
folks.
okay, so he's not into Star Trek, and we'll talk about the people who are not into Star
Yeah.
Trek.
Never.
Vulcans are
It's like the Beatles haircuts.
Kind
Yeah.
of, yeah.
Okay.
Mr. Spock's haircut from
Okay, so
Star
like
Trek.
Okay.
Yes. Now, there may be a weird reason for that. How Max says, how did they ever keep going? Because brainwashing and stupid people. You don't need smart people.
Yeah, people are always going to be seeking meaning. This is essentially.
Well, and that's
cults are basically trying to be like a religion, essentially.
Oh, yeah.
Look at
well, and
Scientology.
that's the whole point. The more they
Max
can
is-
control, if they
Max
can
is an
control you on the
answer-
small stuff. Okay.
Max, in answer to that question, it was the kind of people they picked up. I'm going to read this. This is from Conyers again, the guy in that interview. The cult's message was appealing because they were, quote, speaking to Christian heritage, but in a modern, updated way. For example, Heaven's Gate apparently taught that the Virgin Mary was impregnated after being taken up in a spacecraft.
Oh.
Okay.
But hold on. There was more to this. How did a group like this once attract up to 200 members, may have been asked. According to former followers, the ones who didn't stay, Heaven's Gate was appealing because of an odd blend of asceticism, mysticism, science fiction, and Christianity.
Now,
Basically, they
those-
suckered people into this with a lot of this New Age stuff, and they always grabbed people who were very unhappy with their life. It was sadly kind of like how Jim Jones did, but with different intentions. They grabbed people who were very unhappy in their lives. They hooked them with this odd belief system because it was something very different from what they felt was the mundanity of their lives, only to get dragged into even further mundanity and regimented mundanity, which is why of 200 people, only 39 stayed.
But with a promise of a greater purpose.
Yeah.
hold on.
and-
Let's say
and-
40,
yeah.
let's say 41 stayed.
I don't
39
count the leaders.
I'm not counting the leaders. I'm talking about the survivor, the ones who run the website.
They technically stayed, I guess.
Yeah, that's debatable. We'll put it like that.
Yeah.
So the thing is, from their own words in the videos, they were like, "I was lost." One girl said she had tried out 7 different churches, like 12 different groups, looking for someone. She had no friends, no family or anything like this. Then she found this group.
Cults thrive on desperation.
Yes.
America's full of desperate people, folks.
But the
Yes.
thing is,
Keep it up, Ryan, because we ain't the only ones.
Yeah.
That's the thing though. How this is how gangs operate. This is how how some crooked churches operate. The point of this is that they have to find people who are so downtrodden, people who are so mentally and emotionally malleable that they will believe anything. If they can control them on the smallest aspects of their life, they can talk them into doing anything on larger aspects of their life.
Potentially a controversial point, but I feel like it still has merit.
Mhm.
In this day and age, if this guy, let's say this guy or even Jones had come up in this era, they would have picked the people with gender dysphoria. They would have picked the trans people and the people who grew up with autism because they would be the ones most unhappy and most desperate to get away from their lives.
Easiest
got something
targets.
better. Exactly.
Is it me, folks, or does Potato sound a bit quiet today?
hold on, I need
Maybe
to
a
check
little,
my
yeah.
microphone. Yeah, I was on the stream and a guy told me my microphone was still out.
Oh, excuse me.
Maybe he just couldn't handle your voice.
How about now? How's this?
That
Little
sounds much
better?
better.
Okay.
It's like a crystal.
Okay.
So, what going by their own, like one of the guys was a military army soldier. Another one was an Air Force. But he worked on the gates. He wasn't in there that long. But one of the things that I have really noticed. How long were you here? 3 years. How long are you here? 3 years. How long are you here? 3 years. Now, some of the older people.
A lot of
I mean, I hate you, FPS. And some of
Yes,
the older
Philip Blair,
people-
that's correct. Now, here is the thing. There was one thing that became two things that was ultimately what made a lot of people go, this is some bullshit, I'm going to leave now.
Yeah.
One was that their entire belief system was based on a ticking clock that it turned out kind of ticked past where it was supposed to.
Yeah.
Yep.
It was like I'm going to go to a Christian church. Jehovah's Witnesses had a saying in 1975. That was their big prediction of the world will end in 1975, where they actually had a saying of stay alive to 75, right? Where Jehovah's Witnesses sold all their life savings, they sold their stuff, they sold their farms, everything like this.
I was going to get to that, Philip. Hold on.
Yeah, but go ahead, Farf. Well,
Okay, so one of their issues is like they were literally operating on a clock. So what they were taught was that if they stayed on Earth for too long, they were going to face what they called the recycling. Basically, that Earth would be destroyed and wiped clean of life.
yes, which is what I was saying in the beginning about the different civilizations being buried.
Yeah, but what they were claiming is because they were these elevated beings that before the recycling could happen, they would be picked up by a ship of elevated beings like themselves and taken away from Earth before the apocalypse could happen, so that all the chosen people would leave the Earth. But they
Not
ran
only-
into one severe problem with this whole ideology. Well, in 1985, Miss Nettles died of cancer.
Yes.
The
Yeah,
co-founder of their movement died of cancer before they were supposed to all be chosen and taken away from the planet.
Yeah, which led them to start saying that she had then gone on to prepare their arrival, prepare a new ship for them. And in the exit interview, Marshall Applewright. Now, for the people who just came in, Marshall Applewright is the man who ran the whole stuff. Here's Bobby Nettles and Marshall Applewright. Now, the thing is, you can see him here. He looks a bit off, but he looks normalish, right? This is him after she died.
Yeah. The man was said, even by some of the
Broken.
people who left, to have been broken by her death. But not only that, it caused a desperate need for him to reorganize their philosophy.
Yeah.
So what happened is he came up with the concept that, well, she had died early because she was merely leaving behind her earthly vehicle to go to her new home in the stars with her fellow TELAs. That's their abbreviation for that shit they called it earlier. But
Yeah.
he claimed that he didn't because he still had work left to do and people left to lead to their ascendancy.
Yes.
But this is where the ideology of the cult shifted.
Go ahead.
All right. So their belief system was so odd. In their belief system, suicide was wrong.
Mm-hmm.
But their definition being far from the traditional sense,
Dude, that sucks.
they believed that suicide meant turning against your opportunity at ascendancy,
Yes,
as they put it.
which in their exit interview, they Marshall Applewhite, the man who ran the show, called himself Doe, turned around and said, "But you're going to say why? Why did you unalive yourself, commit suicide? Why did you do this?" And he's like, "But for us to stay here and not do that was the suicide." And another thing that he said towards the end is, you can only get to the kingdom of heaven, right? If there's these advanced beings on Earth, if there's and they only come back every 2,000 years. Another weird thing he said, because Nettles was claiming to be God, the Father, but Nettles is a woman. How does that work? Why, thank you, Big Brain. I'll ask you. I'll tell you. The way it works is anyone above you, because there's no gender, there's no women. Notice
Oh, that's a red flag.
Yeah, notice
No
the gay man
gender.
said there's no women. Turned around and said there's no women, there's no children, there's no nothing, and
This is why they had that emphasis on no sex and no human level relationships in this fucking organization.
That is the state sponsored cat. She's there to
The
make sure
state
his social
sponsored
credit
cat now, is it?
that his social credit score is in good working order, which it's not. But then he turned around and he said that anyone above you, right, who goes ahead, is your father, no matter of their earthly gender, because you're not having a physical body, but they don't know what type of body they'll have. Hello, Disney. Good to see you, man.
Nice Clarence Boddicker thumbnail.
So he said, and one of the things that I really noticed is, and Favre, we mentioned this, he rambled. Like when he'd be talking, instead of being like, and we believe this, he'll be like, and then if you go, but the thing especially is you could literally see him thinking it up as he was doing it.
Well, the ultimate issue with this came around after the belief system changed about the whole suicide thing.
Yes.
In March 1997. Now, the theory is that, because nobody's sure where he got the idea that the Halley-Bopp comet was actually how they were supposed to leave the planet.
The 2,000-year cycle.
No, that wasn't it.
Okay.
It was the comet itself wasn't the thing. It's the idea, the people wondering how it was he put together in his head that there was a ship either in or behind the comet.
I remember from what my grandfather was saying, because my grandfather found this incredibly interesting. He was like an original trekker, right? That it was behind it. That's what, in like the dust and everything like that. And he said, for anyone with any logical brain, why would a ship need to be in the dust? You get me?
Yeah. Well, Art Bell was a radio host at the time who ran a program called Coast to Coast AM. And he publicized the delusion of the idea that there was a ship behind the comet, like there was a ship following the comet around. And apparently Applewhite grabbed this idea and ran with it.
Yes.
Because he decided after that this was what he called the only way to evacuate the Earth at this time.
Yes. As the Earth was going to be, it went rejuvenated, recycled, then came up with another, like, reunified or something like that. He said, but the only way that people... Now, this is what I don't get. If the world was going to be recycled, why did he bother making the tape? And who was he talking to? Because everyone's meant to be dead.
I don't know. But, you know, at the same time, if you were
And if there
operating
weren't
on,
any
on what I
children,
would call
why did they have a specific? Yeah.
Because the 39 people that stayed
Yeah.
recorded a farewell video. And
Yes.
the farewell video was consequently shipped to all of the followers who had left recently. They mailed it to them,
Mm.
Yeah.
along with the address to the mansion where they were planning to do the deed.
Now, that mansion is... I forget the name of it because I don't speak Spanish. But it is here. Like,
Taco
it is-
del Taco.
What?
No, it's in, like... Hold on, I'll find the name of it. Sorry
Hold
about
on,
that.
I have it here. Just let me find it.
Burrito del Taco. Hmm.
I'm looking
So-
for it. Hold on.
One... Nope, that is... Nope.
Casa Bonita.
What
No.
was that potato?
Wow,
Queso Bonita.
you guys are terrible.
So, one of the most prominent people in this group was Nichelle Nichols' brother. She tried desperately to get him out, to no avail. He actually left with the group in the end, sadly.
Oh.
So, what happened when he declared that this was the sign of the end times and their one chance to exit is they're estimated about March 22nd or 23rd. The 39 cult members proceeded to eat applesauce and pudding that was laced heavily with barbiturates.
Now,
And then
for
a
those
great
who
deal of
don't
them
know, what is
apparently
a
were
barbiturate?
also. Go ahead.
I'm just saying, for those of you who don't know, what is a barbiturate?
I don't remember anymore, not specifically.
I'll Google it.
Is it something that can unalive you?
Well, yes, especially in heavy doses. I just don't remember specifically what it is.
A barbiturate is a drug helped for sleeping, relieved anxiety, muscle spasms,
Got
prevent
it.
seizures, and as well, they wrapped themselves their heads.
I was
in
actually
a-
getting to that, yeah.
yeah, in a
So
plastic
after they
bag.
took all these fucking basically sleep aids, which I think anybody who's ever taken sleeping pills knows that's a bad idea because it slows down your heart rate.
everything, yeah,
So they took a bunch of this mixed in with pudding, and then they wrapped their heads in plastic bags to ensure that they would suffocate
yeah.
in their sleep, basically.
You mean
Brandon-
ascend?
Yeah.
Brad says, you guys abandoned us, so we send you this psychotic tape to get you to reconsider and join us.
I mean,
Now, talking-
maybe they were hoping that they would follow them. It's honestly the only thing I can
There-
think of why you
yeah.
would leave that afterward.
Now, in the Marshall's his own video, they did bring up that there were some guys who they met, and they're like, "Oh, you were out for 3 years, right? You were out for 4 years, 5 years." One of them's like, "I felt hopeless. I was lost. I couldn't do anything. I like the world is so evil, all that crazy stuff." But the thing is, it's like, we found you. We ran into you in a Burger King. We ran into you in a Walmart. We had a thing. You came back to us. We had to go and kidnap you, which meant that they went, stole a guy and brought him back. And they kept moving that. Hold on, Phil, I'm not highlighting Phil's comment. I'll wait for the next one. But no. Anyway, so they kept bringing people back. But the people were all out, and they made a joke. "Hey guys, we're getting this internet thing sorted. Keep an eye on your favorite websites. They might not be working as well as they used to." These guys made some of the most prominent websites of the 90s. Like, they were bringing in a lot of money. And people said that they'd be out on the street recruiting people. They'd be going along, but their legs were even moving in sync with each other.
And the
Everything-
thing is, too, it's claimed by the only reason the cops found out about this as soon as they did after the fact was because one of the former members who'd had the tape sent to them, along with the map and address, actually called the police, sent an anonymous tip that this was what was going on. But by the time the cops got there, everyone had already done it.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And
Like-
apparently it was alleged to have taken several days for some of these people to die.
Damn.
Yeah, they said that the earliest person...
You can never trust plastic sacks. They always get holes in them.
Right.
Like, the earliest person to do anything was on the 19th. And it went all the way up until the 28th. Like, that is a long time. Like, for these people, because, I mean, I'm sorry, the thing is, for the people who were the last to go, right? You're now seeing your friends. You had to walk around, do your daily stuff with your friends dying around you. And you're like, this is a good thing. That is how brainwashed these poor souls were.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and so Philip, you mentioned socks. Funny thing about socks is, where do they live? Shoes. They all had this specific brand of Nike shoes on them. Now, the thing about the Nike shoes is, afterwards, Nike pulled these shoes off. They don't make these shoes anymore. Yeah, they were like immediately straight pulled off. And also, they didn't have any metal on their body except in their pockets. They all had $5.72. What is it, 5 cent?
Cents, yeah.
Yeah, $5.72 in their pockets. All of them had that exact amount in coins.
That's their charge to go into the comet.
Apparently so.
Apparently.
Yeah, it's like, oh, we have done our thing. Do you have 5.72? No.
Well,
we
it's like
have 5.72.
having the 2 gold coins over your eyes for the ferrymen, you know, in Greek mythology and so on and so forth. It was a ritual. It was even down to that.
Yeah. Looks like now.
It's just strange being on a stream where potato is not the loudest. It's very
But-
strange.
The thing is, with the hold on, How
Don't
about
worry,
now?
folks. Techno bloopers from potato.
Yeah,
are
am I
very
doing
funny.
okay now?
It happens. A little better.
Yeah.
Maybe you should shout at your microphone in the middle of the night. That will be very funny.
What the
Correct.
Hey Tim, good to see you, man.
Hey, Tim,
Guys,
what's
make
up,
sure
man?
that make sure everyone votes in the poll. So, like, these people, they didn't stay like most places. They either had one compound or they built it. These people rented. The more money they went in.
rented this mansion in San Diego with their combined money from doing all this tech stuff.
Yeah.
And the thing is, they had this arranged so specifically. There were 30. Applewhite was the 37th one to die of the 39.
Yes.
And it was organized so that the people ahead of the ones who would die would arrange the bodies on their bunks very neatly so that when the cops got there, there were 39 people lying in matching tracksuits in little freaking bunks.
With a purple.
Well, at least they could rent it out again later.
And
No,
the
they
worst
demolished
part,
us.
If the worst part, if you know anybody who has basic biology, you know what happens when you die.
Yes.
Is the people who were left behind had to actually clean up the bodies and prepare them.
Yeah.
each time.
Yeah, but the thing is, all the bodies also had a purple diamond sheet. Now, I will not be showing the photos of the bodies,
No.
although they are prevalent online. If you want to go and see them yourselves, I will not be showing it. But the thing is, they all had in the one shape of a diamond. But the thing is, and the people who stay behind are on the website, right? There is a theory that these people did help at the end. And the thing is, if they helped
Possible.
at the end, that meant they had to turn around and walk out.
Mm-hmm.
You had just seen everyone you loved, you knew, you thought was your family, essentially your God, dying in front of you.
And then you had these 4 fuckers who were expressly and specifically told to stay behind.
Yeah.
Which, if you believed any of this, you were basically told to stay behind and wait to die.
Exactly. Like, and not only, like, they still believe it, because there's other bigger channels out there who have emailed, have, like, talked to the guys, and they said, like, they tried to sell the book to them, but they're still as ardent of believers today as they were all those years ago. Like, and the thing is, far of opinion, should I show the website?
Yes.
It doesn't hurt nothing. It's just a public website.
Yeah. Yeah, so I'm about to bring you back to the Wayback Machine, ladies and gentlemen. I present to you Heaven's Gate website. It is still functioning. All the hot links still work. And whoever designed this website, I hate you. What the hell does... I'm sorry. On a black background, you decided to use pink.
I'm telling you.
Well, you did say that it was started by a homosexual, so you know.
Well, when the internet collapses, the people will find this website still active with all.
Oh yeah, this is like an internet cockroach. It's gonna be around.
Talking about stuff. So, see this place right here, right? This address right there, where it's held up at. I decided to go onto Google Street View, right? I was expecting this to be like some apartment block or something like that. No.
Is it a
Go to your
graveyard?
map. No.
Oh, it's a shopping mall.
It's a fucking shopping center.
That's what they're operating out of. Holy crap.
It is, yeah. Not only are they operating out of it, they're hosted here. They're renting computers from in here. Like, that
Did
is
they all
where
go to the University of Arizona? Did they pay
possibly.
for their degrees? Just, credit card information.
But, like, videotape 1, 1996, 70 minutes. Videotape 2, Earth about to be recycled. Your only chance to survive is leave with us. I don't think that happened.
Yeah, I would say that doesn't serve as much of a historical record.
I
at this
wasn't
point.
even alive when any of this happened, folks.
Phil,
The world
Ryan-
has not ended.
Nope.
Ryan, you were 49 in 1962. Come on.
No. I was -3 in 1996.
You're the oldest 20-something-year-old I've ever met.
24.
Anyway,
Yeah, exactly. I can actually attest that I was never alive when this kind of crap was going on.
I was
Yeah.
16 years old when this shit went down.
I think I was on my third life when this happened.
you see, I brought. You know what? I'm going to move all the fetuses down to one low. There we go. All the fetuses are together.
At least I can stand up, Potato.
Oh, come
Oh,
on.
cool! I was born in
You don't see his
'91.
little feet? You don't see the little feet on the bottom of his potato? They're right there.
Yeah, I got little footsies. I'm a little footsies.
Max said I was
It-
just born.
It's Mr. Potato Head if he was a Sith Lord.
Actually, Maxis, you were not born. You were currently gestating because this happened in March.
You make it sound like he's a fucking alien. Gestating.
That's the correct term.
Is that how
Like-
potatoes pop?
I don't
Fine.
think that's the correct term there, potato.
Fine, Maxis, you were chilling in the womb.
Incubating?
You're listening.
Being born. How about that? Gestating.
No, she wasn't.
Oh, you
being-
forgot to tell him about the armbands.
Oh, do tell. Oh, they're fucking away team.
They
Okay,
had
so-
all the corpses had matching armbands on their tracksuit that literally read Heaven's Gate Away Team.
yeah. But not only that, they all had numbers on it. Depending on which day you were, you had a away team. like these guys were obsessed with Star Trek and Star Wars because one of the last things they went to see was Star Wars in the cinema. I believe it was episode 6.
That would have been episode 3, probably.
In 96.
Oh, in 90, yeah, because the original trilogies, they came out in the 80s, 70s and 80s, man.
Yeah, but in 90,
these are the
Revan,
original
They did a
re-release.
rerun on
Revan in 1996, when they announced that they were going to start filming for 1991, they re-released the original trilogy with George Lucas's new updates to it.
Oh, so they might have went to go
Yeah.
see the theatrical re-release.
Yeah, and also you have the VHSs of the original trilogy in their original version before we got the remastered ones or the special edition edits.
But the thing about it is because Marshall was so confused about what's a Star Trek and what's a Star Wars, right? Like he was old Manning, right? And it's like, okay, Grandpa. But he turned around and he said, we have our own demons to contend with. Like, someone was excited to see the new Star Wars movie. Now, we're trying to get that out of us, and as we're so close to leaving, we're showing how still impure we are. And I'm like, you fucking dick.
Was the comet a Death Star, or was it hiding behind the Starship
No,
Enterprise? Maybe the comet was the Death Star, and their ship was the Enterprise, and the reason they left was to get.
Well, then again, it could just be a giant. It could just be a giant.
Yeah.
Ryan.
Hold on,
On one
See you around,
side,
Brad Wolf.
on one. Oh,
Have a good night, Brad Wolf.
Yeah, but Favre, you wanted to say something?
I was just gonna say, it's like one thing has bothered me for a long time about this whole Heaven's Gate nonsense is there are a number of kind of unpleasant similarities in some of the belief system between these guys and the Scientologists, which always kind of threw me off as to how the Scientologists got such a free pass for so long after this happened, when there's so much still kind of similar.
Well, let's face it, Scientology is not a religion, it's a comic book convention.
Yeah, you tell them that. They don't agree.
I did. They at Comic-Con 2018 in Dublin, there was a stand, right, where the Scientologists
What
ran
the
a
fuck were the
stand.
Scientologists doing in Ireland?
They're in Ireland. They're up in Dublin. They're
They
everywhere,
got
man.
them everywhere, bro. They're like sleeper agents.
Oh, dude. A few miles from where my ma used to live, there was a fucking Scientologist compound. They had a movie studio in there and like a couple of mansions, like in this big ass compound at the edge of the mountains, where she lived on the other side of. The fuckers are weird.
I know. See, you want to talk about a secret invasion? Scientologists are everywhere, bro. They're invading.
I present to you. No, I present to you the Scientologists.
Lord have mercy. Yeah,
Well, see,
I'm familiar
Our
with them.
competition, and they brought everyone in with Wonder Woman.
And I bet you they brought all the bullshit testing materials with them too.
Complete your what comic? Are you a comic creator? Like join this, like they were anti-drugs and they scanned down and they brought you to their website. But yeah, a lot of this shit sounds similar.
Well, that's the power. That's the power of cults. Sometimes it inspires other people.
Yep.
I mean,
Yeah.
once you get Tom Hanks on there, bro. I mean, you know, like, or sorry, not Tom Hanks, Tom Cruise.
Tom Cruise.
There's too many Toms out here, bro.
Saving the souls of dead aliens.
Once the cult matures, it becomes a culture. For that blooper. Once a cult matures, it becomes a culture, folks. Just give it time. I'm sure it'll rough out the edges, and everything will be fine.
Well, here's the thing: if you want a piece of comedy in this,
Always, we need it.
during this whole SAG-AFTRA WGA strike, one of the most sane voices about this whole thing has been a fucking Scientologist. Because Tom Cruise has been out there speaking out against the strike and trying to get these people to settle their differences because he's like, it's hurting the movie industry. I'm like, when the Scientologist in the room is the sane motherfucker, then something's up.
There's a guy working in the BBC, right? And they're like, "What do you think of the SAG strike?" And he's like, "How much money does Disney have?" Like, what do you mean? He said, "Well, think of it like this." He said, "How much stuff does Disney have in its vault? How much money does it have? How much money do all these companies have? How much money do you have in your bank account?" Like, he said, they're going to starve him out. He said, they'll be back to work.
Basically, that's what they're doing. They're waiting them out. Did you hear about the whole thing? It's like they have this 90-day stipulation on a lot of contracts. So they're waiting these assholes out until the contracts on the movies and TV shows run out, and then they don't have to pay them for the work.
Just remember, kids. Just remember, kids. Join Scientology. It's like Heaven's Gate, but you can eat more and have sex.
Sounds like a weird version of Subway.
But,
don't get started.
Oh, Lord.
With this, like, I was looking at... Farv, you watched the members exit tape, right?
Not all of it, but I had
you
the
watched
general
some
idea.
of it. They all had euphoria in their eyes. If any of you are familiar with people who are about to unalive themselves, they do get into a state of euphoria. And all these people, I'm so excited. Now,
well, I also suspect that there's some of what they'd been taking may have been starting to catch up with them, too.
Yeah, like, weren't they taking a lot of drugs as well?
Well, they were taking, like, the equivalent to, like, muscle relaxers and antidepressants and sleep medication. So they were probably feeling pretty serene.
Like, one of them turned around and she's like, as I leave behind everyone, the woman had, like, 8 to 9 grandchildren. And, like, her kids were actively looking for her. Like, they moved her from one place to another, and they didn't tell anyone. They're like, since people left, they're like, yeah, if X person leaves, they move. If someone left who knew their address, they would move. And they had enough money that they could just, like, rent another mansion down the road or move to another state, because they didn't stay in one state. They didn't rent it in in, like, the next town over. No. They went from state to state to stay from Oregon, Texas, Miami, like Delaware. Then they ended up back in California.
Miami is a very powerful state, Potato.
I know. It's right.
I mean, yeah, I was their bus driver.
The state of Miami.
But you know what I mean. They were in Miami in the state of Florida.
There we go.
I
mean, Ryan's not wrong.
I am called reality based, so
no, but yeah, but the thing is, like, and so if any of the Americans are walking around and they meet someone with a Vulcan haircut who's older, right? They may have you, like, seen a survivor from, like, Heaven's Gate, or even if someone used a website from the 90s. Now, the bottom row, the 90s were in the before times.
The before times.
I'm familiar with the before times.
Yeah, you're like, I've seen pictures.
I've seen pictures.
Bro, I was 3 by the time the year 2000 came out. Come on now.
I mean, the world before 9/11
Hey, I was born in 91. I was born in 91. I remember the 90s legitimately, at least the tail end of it.
That makes sense.
But, so, guys, with so many of us here and the time, we're going to start shielding ourselves. I'll go with FPS, and then we'll work our way around, okay?
Sure.
I vote Bubba go first.
Really?
I vote shut the fuck up and listen to me. It's Michael. JetSpark, you go first.
Okay, yeah, you can find me at the link there at JetSparks373. I'm on Twitter, Instagram. I'm also on Twitch, and of course I also have a YouTube channel. I'm currently on hiatus right now. I got some personal things I got to deal with. But the thing is, I ask anyone who goes onto my channel, just look through the back catalog of all my stuff, all my live streams, especially my Mass Effect playthrough and any of my other live playthroughs on my channel.
Absolutely.
It's just interesting stuff. You want to just watch gameplay, there you go.
Farv?
Yeah. My brother and I run a YouTube channel called Farvithian Guard. You can also find me on Twitter at Farvithian Guard. It's all one word, no uppercase, obviously.
Yeah.
I'm putting my link in the chat right now.
Oh.
Which chat, private or
No, in the
YouTube?
Yeah, in the YouTube.
Yeah.
And then I have the first of my fantasy novels, which I'm also going to be dropping the link to.
Is it Harry Potter?
No.
No.
That would be the Farvithia Chronicle, which is where the name of my channel came from. And
Yes.
that's all I
It's
got. tonight.
also available on Amazon.au, Amazon.co.uk, Amazon.nz, and the Dutch Amazon, which nobody uses.
Wow.
Amazon.
There is an ebook version if you don't want to have the
Yeah.
heavy ass hardcover.
Oh yeah, Bubba, you want to shield yourself?
Yes. Now just remember, when you all join my cult, I have Surge Soda and original Mr. Pibb formula.
Hey, they're all going to join my cult where it's like free.
I'm more of a
sexual
Dr. Pepper
potatoes.
kind of guy, personally.
He'll eat you. That's
I'm
the
just
ending.
saying. I'm just saying, Mr.
Yeah.
Pibb, it beats Dr. Pepper any day of the week. Anyway, if y'all want some entertainment, any given time, I could be throwing down on Twitter, figuratively, of course, because it's on Twitter, or X now. Sorry, I've got to respect its new pronouns. I am on X, facing down plenty of SJW sycophant freaks. The type
Tranny
that,
Are
demons.
y'all
Yeah.
motherfuckers seriously throwing up the X sign in the fucking
Yeah, X-Force. Yeah. Anyway, X-Force forever. Anyway, so anyway, all
My
of you
panel is
have
just sad.
all of you have a wonderful week. All of you have a wonderful night, and all of you just remember that no matter where you go in this world, there are Scientologists everywhere.
Yeah. As a closing thing, there is going to be a Monday episode my brother and I recording this weekend coming up about that SAG-AFTRA bullshit. We're actually going to do a
Fantastic.
discussion on that. That's going to be coming out Monday.
Nice.
Nice.
FPS, you want to shield yourself?
Yeah, sure. I'm raised by
So
a kid,
enthusiastic.
and listen, I don't like shelling myself. I'm sorry. But you can find me on Twitch at Raised by FPS, along with YouTube and Twitter. I'm also on TikTok as well. I mostly post gaming content, and kind of the whole vibe of all of my content is just try and promote more peace, love, and positivity in the world and stuff like that. Because, if I want to see change and peace in the world, I gotta, it's gotta start with me. So, I mean, I'm just trying to present a different vibe.
Yeah. Ryan, you want to shield yourself?
Well, folks, if you want to burn the world down, check out Ryan Roger Athe, and I'm sure you'll enjoy what I have to offer, because it ain't all sunshine and rainbows. The truth is reality-based, and you're all welcome to enjoy what I have to offer on YouTube, on Twitter, on Instagram, on Rumble, as well as on Kick. I've got the new PC to the right of me, to the far right of me, where it belongs, and hopefully reality-based gaming can come to life. Thank you all very much for watching, and hopefully you subscribe to Potato Revan, who cannot stand up properly because he has embraced the American lifestyle. Nom, 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 nom.
That's not an American lifestyle. That's just a bad lifestyle.
So, guys, I'm going to say thank you very much. You can find me over on Instagram underneath the same name, and you can also find me on underneath the same name. So, everyone, I'm going to say good night, God bless, and remember, if a weird cult member comes up and joins you, please ask them, is there free sex involved? If they say yes, say, no, mommy, I need to go home to school.